Hey guys, welcome back to the complete yacht buying process. The next step up here is the behind the scenes post-acceptance. So you've gone through the survey, sea trial, mechanical inspections, we have negotiated anything, set the final terms, you have signed an acceptance of the boat. Now this kicks off the process to get you to close. So behind the scenes, what's happening, if it's a US flagged boat, we get the US abstract of title from the US Coast Guard. So that's USCG. That will be going on kind of in the background. After you accept the boat, the closing team and documentation service, they will contact you. They'll get copies of your ID, find out how you're going to flag and title the boat, where it's going to be registered, get all of that information. And it's important to get that up front because it does take time to prepare the documents. It can take a week or longer to prepare these documents. If you have a foreign flag boat and you're going to be reflagging it, it can take up to 2 weeks. So this is important to set you up with the closing team, documentation service, and marina attorney as needed. Now the closing process and the wires and the timing and what all of this looks like. So there's two different sides of it. You'll have buyer's side closing documents, seller's side closing documents. So those will go out to either party. All the documents need to be signed and notarized and scanned and sent back to the closing team. Now most closings do not happen in person anymore. They will happen based on notarized remote signatures and scanned, and we can close on electronic copies. We do need the original hard copies to be FedExed into the office, so we have copies of the original, and that will be what's filed with the Coast Guard and other flagging entities. So important to send us the original, but we can close on electronic documents. So both parties will sign their documents. They will come back to the closing team. The closing team will review everything, make sure everything is in order. You will have a buyer's closing statement. The seller will have the seller's closing statement that will go through specifically what all the finances look like, what the terms of the deal are, and really make sure that everyone is in sync on that. Brokers will sign that closing statement because just to make sure everyone's on the same terms as well. Then we fund the deal. So if you're financing or privately funding it, that will be wired into the Denison Escrow account. Now, why this is important, some people think, oh, I'm going to write a check or the seller gets the money and then I give them a check, it's my boat. That's not how things work. Everything comes through the central escrow account. So whether you're financing it or paying cash, you will send the balance into our escrow account. And then once everything is signed, money is funded into escrow. The closing team will ask you as the buyer again, are you ready to close? Do you want us to wire the outbound wire? You will give them confirmation. We will send the funds out. At this point, the boat is not yours. This is very important to set expectations. Now, the boat may have a lien against it. That lien needs to be paid off if it does. And we need confirmation on the bank that had the lien that they've received the funds and that they have closed the lien on the boat. You don't want to take a possession of the boat that has an existing lien. So again, once we fund it, we will pay off the lien, get confirmation back. The next thing is the seller of the boat will get the seller's proceeds. So seller's proceeds will be distributed to them via wire transfer. Now that wire transfer in a perfect world will show up in a couple hours and show as pending and then close out. That doesn't always happen because we don't live in a perfect world. It can take a day or two for the funds to settle into the account of the seller. So as a buyer, just be prepared. When the wire transfer goes out, you may have a day or two before you actually take possession of that because we need confirmation that any liens have been settled and that the seller's proceeds have been received. At that point, you will get the keys to the boat and you will be able to go. Another important point leading up to close, we will ask you for the insurance documents and make sure that you have the boat properly insured. If you don't want to do that, you will need to waive the insurance. Now, this is very important at closing. Don't be in a rush. I'll repeat it again. Don't be in a rush. I've seen too many people show up, grab the boat, and go, and just be really unprepared. And then why this is a horrible idea, whether it's you on your own or if you have a captain or whatever else, boats are complex machines. So you need to orient yourself. The captain needs to orient themselves, make sure they understand all the electronics, the navigation, all these things. They need to check the weather. They need to check the tides. They need to see what's going on. I've had too many instances where people wire the money, show up at the boat, want to take it before the boat's even closed, and are just in a hurry. So if you fail to plan, you plan to fail. So please do not be in a rush. Everyone loves their new boat, they're ready to go, but take at least a few hours to orientate yourself. Make sure you're, with the weather, wind, tides, and everything is doing, all of this leads up to a successful close.